Hey y'all out there in YouTube world. The sun just came out from behind a cloud. It's the last Friday of February 2024. Apparently there's a full moon tomorrow. Lots of things happening in the sky. Yesterday here, last night I was expecting it to rain like all day yesterday, but it didn't hit until last night. Lots of thunder, and the river is looking so pretty today. You can see all these like little swimming hole areas that are starting to pop up, and I can walk down here a little bit easier than last week to get to our landmark spot. That if you've been watching any of the other videos, this down tree here with the mushrooms on it, we can see from when I go up to the bluff. So it's really fun to come down here after the rainstorms and notice how, the water is so powerful. Luckily, this is not like a tsunami situation, right? Which is much more dangerous, or being down here camping and flash flooding. But to be able to see kind of how the power of the water can affect the landscape and leave remnants behind, good or bad. And I often talk about kind of water as a life philosophy, and how sometimes if we're just getting hit by something unexpected, like a flash flood or a riptide or something like that, just taking a deep breath and going with it. So yeah, look at how pretty the water is, flowing really good. It's been unusually warm, which is concerning, but I've been spending a lot of time outside, noticing all these things are starting to sprout up, and rogue little baby trees that, if they're left in a spot, are going to become a nuisance and kind of like grow into a fence or whatever. And lots of like thorny vines and vines that can grow up on and like suffocate a tree. And then also like daffodils are blooming here, so I've been digging those up and transplanting them into better spots that I've wanted. So a few videos I've actually been able to sit on this down tree. Right now, not so much. But I thought we could go back to the little spot that I sat on last week, and we can look at some of the deposits of the water and just how beautiful it is right now. And if you can see the little fishies. So have you been outside lately? Even if it's super cold or snowy or rainy or windy, just take a few moments to notice what you're noticing. Feel that air. I've had multiple conversations this week about the essence of just being human, and being human at this particular time, and how rapidly AI is kind of taking over certain things and kind of invading our lives, and how easy it is to push a button and something happens. And what does that mean for us as people, right? So not living in a virtual reality, can we go outside and smell, feel the wind, watch or listen to the water? Can you feel the sun? So, yeah. So take a look at all of these kind of little whooshes of water remnants, right? Of just the level gets high, and then as it starts to recede, it leaves these um, little ponds. So today I do have a Robert Frost that happens to be in the next section of this book. We're in the mindfulness section. I bet in the next month or so, next 4 weeks, I'll probably get to the joy section. So anyway, I am Val. Welcome to my channel. And I am just encouraging you to go slow, find ways to connect to being human, tasting, sitting and eating the food instead of walking while you're eating, or, just feeling, pretending you're a cat and enjoying the sunshine. All those different things of like this particular moment in time that you can enjoy, and move forward with whatever's going on in your life. So I often also explain that I am a certified forest therapy guide. This is not a formal forest therapy walk. You might have a guide in your area, and I know several that also do guides remotely. But one of the things that I like to encourage people to do is just to notice what you're noticing, right? And maybe there's an opportunity in your daily life to not have headphones in and not be piping in content to kind of, distract you or whatever, and pay attention to the sights and sounds around you, even if you're in a city. Okay, so let's read our poem. And the view of the river is really pretty right now. It's the middle of the day. I think I found us a spot. Did you see that bird? Okay. Robert Frost, 1874 to 1963. I'm sitting on a tree, and the tripod for the camera phone is on a tree. The title of the poem is Tree at My Window. Tree at my window, window tree, my sash is lowered when night comes on, but let there never be curtain drawn between you and me. Vague dream head lifted out of the ground, and thing next most diffuse to cloud, not all your light tongues talking aloud could be profound. But tree, I have seen you taken and tossed, and if you have seen me when I slept, you have seen me when I was taken and swept, and all but lost. That day she put our heads together. Fate had her imagination about her, your head so much concerned with outer, mine with inner weather. And that last word, weather, is Weather, weather. weather, as in what we're experiencing, rather than whether or not we get outside today. This next poem is a little bit longer. Um, this is the section about mindfulness. Let me just see here. This is a poem translated from Polish by Stanislaw Jack and Claire Kavanagh. We're in the middle of this book, and forgive me because I do not pronounce these properly. Wisława Szymborska, 1923 to 2012. No title required. It has come to this. I'm sitting under a tree beside a river on a sunny morning. It's an insignificant event and won't go down in history. It's not battles and pacts where motives are scrutinized or noteworthy tyrannicides. And yet I'm sitting by this river. That's a fact. And since I'm here, I must have come from somewhere. And before that, I must have turned up in many other places, exactly like the conquerors of nations before setting sail. Even a passing moment has its fertile past. It's Friday before Saturday. It's May before June. Its horizons are no less real than those that a marshal's field glasses might scan. This tree is a poplar that's been rooted here for years. The river is the Raba. It didn't spring up yesterday. The path leading through the bushes wasn't beaten last week. The wind had to blow the clouds here before it could blow them away. And though nothing much is going on nearby, the world is no poorer in details for that. It's just as grounded, just as definite as when migrating races held it captive. Conspiracies aren't the only things shrouded in silence. Retinues of reasons don't trail coronations alone. Anniversaries of revolutions may roll around, but so do oval pebbles encircling the bay. The tapestry of circumstance is intricate and dense. Ants stitching in the grass sown into the ground, the pattern of a wave being needled by a twig. So it happens that I am, and look, above me a white butterfly is fluttering through the air on wings that are its alone. And a shadow skims through my hands that is none other than itself, no one else's but its own. When I see such things, I'm no longer sure that what's important is more important than what's not. There's one more. This one's a little bit shorter. This is also translated from Polish by Zisław Milos and Robert Hass, by Bronislaw Maj, 1953. Born. It's called A Leaf. A leaf, one of the last, parts from a maple branch. It is spinning in the transparent air of October, falls on a heap of others, stops, fades. No one admired its entrancing struggle with the wind, followed its flight. No one will distinguish it now. As it lies among other leaves, no one saw what I did. I am the only one. been thinking about that a lot. There's so much content out there and so much content creators. And it's baffling to me. Like, I've been on trips where I see people rushing to a spot and then they do a selfie and they take a picture and then they rush back to get on the bus, and nobody's on those tourist things ever like sitting and experiencing the place. I've been to some places where the village has to put up signs asking people not to step on their flowers and step in their yard and damage things. And I wonder if that will stop. I wonder if we'll move on from this rash of documenting every single moment of every single day. It's exhausting to me. I'm not someone who does that. I don't look in the mirror a lot and watch this leaf here go by. I just am. So I often wonder, is life, if no one knows what we're doing, is life still valuable, right? Is that why people are documenting so much of their lives? Is that for internal validation of external qualities, right? And if you, it's that old adage of like, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Does anyone know, right? So I'm trying to get better at that. And in my pace, this weekly activity is pretty helpful, of that mindfulness of, let me share this with other people instead of keeping this to myself, right? We can have like a secret sharing circle. Okay, so we're going to check out where the water has just made its path, and then look at the river from different spots on the way up the hill. So let's go. First off, you can see all these trees that, like, last month, I had to like crawl through these because they were standing taller than me, and now they have been washed over. They might eventually be uprooted. They're pretty tough in there, but this area can get washed out. So a lot of these, yeah, look at this one. So this one is going to get uprooted, and these like nature sculptures. I came across Andy Goldsworthy a long time ago, and this is Andy Goldsworthy worthy, right? Nature just kind of piling things up, and you can kind of see the piles of things and the remnants of the water. It's pretty fun. Okay. So, like, sometimes I walk through there, which if you've watched me a few times, look at how cool this is. Just boink, boink. Just so delicate. It almost looks like a flower. Let's see if I can take the picture of it without messing up the video. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, all of this getting washed out. You can see that it hits the side over there, right? And whooshes this way. Another fun, more fun, just little boinks. So the water would be rushing this way. All these little weeds catching the leaves, making little sculptures. You can see all the raw dirt here where the rocks have just whooshed away, how the leaves are getting deposited. And sometimes I walk on that side, but when this goes down a little bit more, there'll be more room to walk over there. But the roots are having fun with this tree. One of the things I encourage you to do is look up. Stretch your neck. We all look down way too much, and looking up is almost a privilege. Watch the clouds. I do have to look down to watch my step. But I thought this was kind of cool here when I walked down. Just seeing the whoosh of the water and how it just easily flattens all these things down. And hits this barrier and probably makes a really cool splashing. This tree has been lodged there for a couple of years. We had a good flooding that was about probably 20 feet higher than where I'm standing, so that just kind of happenstance got stuck there. I've mentioned this in some of the most recent videos. The term riparian zone apparently is this kind of area here as the water table changes. But if you recall, sometimes I walk this way and then over, so you can see how that's drying up, but the water, it's just super pretty right now, middle of the day. Getting tangled. All right, let's walk up a little bit. Ooh, well, gross vines taking over this tree, like I was mentioning. I've been dealing a lot of that, but 17 acres is a little overwhelming. Yeah, this one, look at how huge that guy is. I should probably just, this tree is, it's not doing too good. It's been taken over. Sometimes we can feel like that as people, right? We get strangled by all of these experiences or people or whatever, and their existence kind of takes over ours. Mental note, bring my hand saw down here. That poem was really interesting too. I often think about that with just like how long it took, a river at some point to carve all this out. And something really interesting is happening. I've only been on the river once, but upriver there's a bunch of bamboo. And it looks like it has landed here. There's some bamboo here. This wasn't here. Bamboo. And there's some up in there. This was not here 2 years ago. So all this bamboo has been recently deposited along with some of the rogue trees. This is called Usnea. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. Usnea. It's very fluffy. I've heard someone call it like a beard or something like that. This only grows in an area where the air is like super clean. I think I'll put this, usually I like to carry it back. This can be medicinal. You can dry this out and make tea and also make a tincture out of it. But today, I think I'll just let it hang out up there. That's a big one. Big and fluffy. Yeah, so look at the river there, how pretty it is. There's some good trees kind of growing in here. That's good because it's going to hold the ground of the side of the bluff here. Let's see if we can find any trees in bloom. I have seen like some maple trees, the cherry trees that are not in this location, but other parts of where I am are already starting to sprout. Yeah, you can see the little pops of red there. And this one, pops of white. It's a Stairmaster. Wind. If you're just new to my channel, this area is called the Western Highland Rim. I'm in Tennessee. This is featured with chert, sandstone, and then the limestone. But there are a lot of other rocks on the ground down there from other geological sources, which I find super fascinating. Okay. Exercise. So there's our landmark. You can see the island, the different blues of the water. Catch my breath. Let's go to this one other little spot. That looks like It might have been an old tree stump there. Have you noticed this tree when I walk down, how it has two trunks and it's twisting on itself? The wind, the resilience of the trees. This is our last stop, just so you can get an idea of the shape of the river and the colors. It definitely feels like spring. The sprouts are happening. The tree buds. By next week, there'll be some flowering trees. I might post a few other things as shorts. Not sure. Just doing a lot of physical labor, like I mentioned earlier, of like digging up things and transplanting things and trying to tackle some things before it gets like too hot and rains too much or it's just getting too overgrown, you know? So by the end of the day, it's a little bit hard to function. But I'll see you next week for March 1st. Have a great one.